What's up, everybody? Ira Silver back here with OverlayDFS, and I'm feeling great. I don't know about you, but we got a good show for you today. If you don't know, it's Tuesday, and you know what that means. No, it's not Taco Tuesday. It's Touchdown Tuesday. We're going to go ahead and review Week 3's NFL on OverlayDFS. We're going to review some of the winning lineups from that contest. But before I get into it, those of you who are new to the channel and don't know what Overlay is all about, Overlay is a single entry GPP, and we are trying to start the revolution and make fantasy football fun again. Are you sick and tired of losing on FanDuel and DraftKings to sharks that have over 100 lineups in each contest? I was sick of it. That's why I made the change, and I founded to start the revolution at OverlayDFS. Now, let me jump right into sharing the screen so we can go through some of these matchups with you. For those of you who aren't familiar with the game, you go ahead and select 12 matchups in the, I believe we got about 32 matchups last week. You go ahead and select 12 of them, and you rank them in importance from 12 to 1. If you're right, you get a win. If you're wrong, you get a loss, okay? This week's money took it down with a 10-2 record, but the cutoff was 9-3. So you could have went ahead and got 9-3 right, and win 9 times your buy-in. So if you finish in the top 10% of the field, you win 9 times your buy-in. But that's not all. If you go ahead and you go perfect 12-0 in your selections, you win the grand prize of over $26,000 right now for the $100 game. And for the $20 game, I believe we're over $6,000, which is fantastic. Let's go ahead and look at some of the matchups from last week. We had Lamar Jackson against Dak Prescott. That was a close one. Lamar Jackson could have and should have beat Dak Prescott. However, a couple missed opportunities there with the 2-point conversions late in the game. Throughout the game, late in the game, Lamar Jackson just fell short. As you can see, it was a very close one. Tom Brady stomped all over Aaron Rodgers, even though the Packers won the game. I thought Aaron Jones had a couple touchdowns. Maybe one more could have gone to Rodgers, and it could have been a closer one, but it wasn't. Russell Wilson just crushed Carson Wentz. It was never even close. Deshaun Watson and Cam Newton, that matchup went off the board because Cam was inactive. Matt Ryan versus Phillip Rivers, that one was pretty close up until the end. You had a Phillip Rivers fumble, which ultimately led to the Houston Texans getting back in the game there and winning the game outright. But that cost a lot of Phillip Rivers owners a lot of agony there and a loss in that matchup. A couple other interesting matchups we want to talk about here. We had Christian McCaffrey versus Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook was way ahead early in the day. Christian McCaffrey breaks I believe it was a 76-yard touchdown run on Sunday after Dalvin Cook was done playing, and goes ahead and takes the lead from Dalvin Cook to book the win for the McCaffrey owners. Run CMC does it again. Moving on, we had another matchup that was really, really not even close. Mike Evans versus Chris Godwin. Most people took Chris Godwin here. Mike Evans was due for a bounce back spot, in my opinion. I know I sound like the Monday morning, or in this case, a Tuesday morning quarterback. But Chris Godwin had just been seeing tons of targets and tons of love from Jameis Winston. Mike Evans received most of the targets and most of the touch. I mean, he just dominated on Sunday. He wiped Chris Godwin off the floor 41-5.5. So he got the win in that matchup. Another interesting matchup, Marlon Mack versus T.Y. Hilton. That one was off the board, actually, but it turned out to be a really fun matchup. It didn't look like Mack was going to play. He ended up playing, came back. He was down a lot, came back from behind. Still lost, but it was a close one. Another interesting matchup was Odell Beckham versus Devontae Adams. Odell Beckham, OBJ owners going into Sunday night thought they had it. They had a lock here. Devontae Adams putting up a measly 7.6, but Odell Beckham, not a great showing, and not a great showing by the Cleveland Browns on Sunday Night Football against the Rams. But that was a close one, decided by 1 point. David Johnson, Aaron Jones. Jones did have 2 touchdowns, but David Johnson goes ahead and steals the victory with 15.5. Less than a point victory there. Another interesting matchup I want to talk to you guys about today would be the Christian Kirk versus Larry Fitzgerald. It was back and forth all day. Larry Fitzgerald ends up coming away with the victory. Let's go ahead and review the second place winners lineup here. Let me get my face out of here so we can all see. I'll move it down here. So shout out to my boy Ethan GSN. He's a follower of the Overlay. He's gives us some shout outs on his podcast. He decided to play this week and try it out. So we'll look at his lineup real quick. First place took it down with a 10-2 record. Ethan came in second with a 9-3. The money payouts did pay up until 9-3. So you could have went 9-3 in your matchups, 9 wins, 3 losses, and gotten paid 9 times your buy-in. So they turned $22 into $180 in this matchup here in this contest. In the $100 game, obviously, it'd be $900, and the progressive jackpot is growing every day. And until someone goes to perfect 12-0 in any of these contests, and every single one of these contests has its own jackpot, its own progressive bonus. Every single game has its own progressive bonus. So it keeps growing and rolling over until someone hits it in each individual contest. So if someone hits the $100 one for $26,000, there's still the $22 game for over $6,000 right now, and growing every day until someone hits it. Well, every Sunday in this case. So let's look at Ethan's lineup. He had Dak Prescott over Lamar Jackson. I think he got lucky there. He had OBJ over Devontae Adams. It was a close one. He needed OBJ to make a few more plays in the second half. He got there. Amari Cooper over Kelsey. Juju Smith-Schuster over Nick Chubb, which was surprising there, but surprising that Mason Rudolph looked much better than I thought he was going to in the start there. Nick Chubb, not that great of a performance against the Rams' defensive line. They just didn't really ever establish much on either the pass or the run. It was kind of an ugly game by Cleveland, and the coaching mistakes by Cleveland. Let's not even get into that. But before we finish the lineup, I just want a side note here because it's crossed my mind. How many coaches in college football and the NFL are going to kick when they shouldn't? And they're not aggressive, and it ends up backfiring on them, okay? Ole Miss kicks a field goal down. I think they were down 15 points with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter against ASU. Oh, no, sorry, against Cal Bears, not ASU. ASU lost to Colorado. Ole Miss down 15 points at home with 7 or 8 minutes left in the game. They're inside, I want to say, the 20-yard line-ish, fourth and manageable, but what are you doing? You're cutting the game from 15 points to 12 points. It's not helping you. You're still going to have to score 2 touchdowns. Bonehead move. Another crazy thing I saw on Sunday, Tampa Bay driving the ball on the last drive to come back from behind after they blow a big lead and the Giants take a lead late in the fourth quarter. Jameis Winston to Mike Evans, I believe, with 12 seconds left on the clock, all the way down to the 7, 10, 5-yard line. Don't quote me on it, but somewhere in there. Inside the 10, I want to say, close to the 10. They decide to go ahead and kick the ball to win the game. They're down 2, to go ahead and kick a field goal, to rely on your kicker after you have been able to run up and down the field against these guys. It just blows my mind. I can't even believe it. Give the ball to Jameis. Let him throw it up to Mike Evans a couple times or O.J. Howard a couple times on a fade route where no one else can catch it except for him, and try to go for the win. Let's not rely on our kickers here. Kicking is for losers, as my favorite person in sports betting says, John Murray. John Murray, you're the man. Kicking is for losers. I'm going to try and get a sign behind here that says kicking is for losers because I'm on board with you. I see it every week in college and the NFL, and it drives me crazy, and I can't stand it. So shout out to you, John Murray. Kicking is for losers, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should have lost that game. Deserved to lose that game. They should not have lost that game. They deserved it because kicking is for losers. Anyways, let's keep going through Ethan's lineup here. He had Fuller over Hyde, Kamara over Thomas, and Andrews over Ertz, Ingram over Watkins. He had Kerryon Johnson over Galladay, Thielen over Diggs, Brady over Rodgers, and let's move my face here so we can see the rest of the screen. Lindsey, he had Mixon over Lindsey, which I believe was a loss. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, Lindsey crushed it. He had a huge game. And his alts were Andy Dalton, Austin Eckler, Chris Godwin. Really nice lineup put together by Ethan. So shout out to you. Shout out to first timers, and shout out to winning the finishing in the top 10% of the field to win the 9X here in the $22 game. And I hope you roll that up, and I hope you keep playing the game, and I hope you enjoy Overlay, and let us know if there's anything we can do to improve your gameplay experience. All right, let's get back here. All right, well, that's the end of our show today. We'll be back this week with a look ahead to week 4's lines, week 4's matchups. And then we'll also have a video later in the week discussing our super contest picks, which didn't go so great in week 3. As always, hit the like, hit the subscribe. It would mean the world to me. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, anywhere on social media. You can find us at OverlayDFS. It would mean the world to me. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for joining. I appreciate all the love and support.